the biggest one is quarterback, Zach. I think that's because I feel like things have changed there with the Jets. Because when it was Engstrand and it was Glenn, you kind of thought they were going to go one direction. And now having Frank Wright, and I think the uncertainty too of how long you're going to have Frank Wright for makes you kind of wonder what they're going to do this offseason at quarterback. I think one of the reasons why Jet fans are because they are. Like, I shouldn't, but I look at my mentions and I really need to stop for my own mental health. But the fans are vicious, and I think the reason for it is, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. Like, nothing. You're not going anywhere until you have a quarterback. And every other offseason we have covered the Jets, in some capacity, there was a means to get the quarterback that you could believe was going to be the guy long term. You could believe in it, whether he obviously never panned out, but you could believe in it. This year is the first year where, because of the draft being a Kenny Pickett-esque one, with the exception of Mendoza, who's obviously going to the Raiders, there's no obvious way to go get that quarterback. And I think you and I are in a very similar lockstep in where they're going to go. I think Kyler Murray could factor into this eventually if they want to go a little bit more of an experienced route. We know obviously there's a relationship there between Glenn and Murray, Murray's family. Like, that's something they could explore. But Tanner McKee is someone that intrigues me. And I think he's got the big, strong arm. He's obviously hasn't played at all. Like, so he's not somebody that you can just be like, oh, we know he's going to be a stud. But I think what you've seen in limited action, both in the preseason and when he's had spot starts with the Eagles, is that he is a quarterback that at baseline can provide competence. He could just be a backup like a Jacoby Brissett, but there's a baseline of competence with Tanner McKee. And talking to some people over in Philly, I was told he is beloved. Like, Tanner is beloved by his teammates. I think he's making a lot of sense. And again, those conversations earlier, like, this is just me speaking. I have not talked to sources to know that the Jets are going to target him. I'll have a much better idea on that Friday and Saturday than I will here when we're speaking to you on Tuesday. But he's somebody that I think is starting to make a bit more sense for the Jets, and I kind of like that one. Like, I do really like the idea of Tanner. And real quick, Zach, is that I was curious if the Jets would go full draft route, like just, Tyrod Taylor in a developmental project, and we'll worry about quarterback in 2027 because they whiffed so badly on Fields. Muji made it clear, they whiffed on Fields, but it doesn't mean they're not going to go sign free agents again. Like, that one worked, you learn from it, you do something different. I think that brings Tanner into the discussion more.
I agree, but before I get into that, I just want to say, I really do think that, there's a lot of what I would call speculative reporting about what the Jets are going to do at quarterback right now. Like, I've seen guys like,
I saw that out there already. Yeah.
The Jets are going to go all in Malik Willis. The Jets are targeting Tanner McKee and Davis Mills. They don't know who they're targeting yet. Like, every conversation I've had with people in that building we are truly formulating a plan right now. And that's from the Aaron Glenn perspective and Darren Muji. They're evaluating who the options might even be. That's from the internal perspective. Frank Reich building this offense, he doesn't know who the quarterback's going to be. He doesn't know where their top target is. These guys are still surveying and researching and trying to decide what kind of quarterback they want, who's going to be available, what it would take to get them. I do not believe they have a number one target right now. So anybody who's acting oh, they're going after this person, they don't know that. The only people that know that are Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, and I can tell you for certain that those two guys are not telling people anything because they do a really good job of not saying anything to people. So yes. I think that's a lot of external expectation based on logic and stuff like that. Now I think there's context clues and things. You talk to people and you talk to people in the building and outside the building, and you kind of get an idea of where they might go in terms of the kind of quarterback they're looking for. But yeah, anyway, that's to your point about McKee. He makes a lot of sense to me because I don't know what he's going to cost to trade for from the Eagles. They do love him over there, like you said, and I think people who cover that team seem to think it would cost a decent amount. I can't imagine anyone would have to give up a second round pick for him. I don't know. They don't have a third round pick, so I don't know, some combination of picks or something. But he is intriguing to me because of his size. He's a little bit of an unknown, so it's a little bit risky. But you can also bring back Tyrod, and you can also draft a guy. So I like him for that because there's a potential there that okay, we're not locking into him as our 2027 starter, but if we start him and he's really, really good this year, then maybe we have our guy. The ceiling and the floor are maybe high and low, but I'm really intrigued by him. He's 6'6". Frank Reich can dig into him because he was just at Stanford, and a lot of people there know Tanner McKee there. Frank Reich is really close to Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo, and you can talk to those guys about Tanner McKee and what they saw in him in practice and in the draft process and all that stuff. So he makes a lot of sense. Malik Willis to me would be the one I would be most interested in, but I just don't think it's going to be worth, once it gets the contract that he's going to get, I don't think you can go after Malik Willis if you're the Jets. And I don't know that he's going to want to come to the Jets anyway, because he's going to
get over Miami or Arizona.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, if you're getting him, let's say the Dolphins are offering, or the Cardinals are offering him $25 million a year. The Jets aren't paying $30 million to get Malik Willis, and so that's why I don't see that happening. But he's intriguing to me because the flashes he's shown are like, oh crap, he could be like a legit stud. But it's such an unknown that you can't pay that guy $30 million a year if you're the Jet staff that's, on the hot seat. Whereas, Mike LaFleur and Jeff Hafley are in their first year and they can take a big swing like that. So that's why, on the one hand, I could see, a big swing. You could argue Kyler Murray would be a big swing too, to a degree, because when he's been at his best, he's pretty solid. Or you could go down, the options where you're hitting the ball, down this, it's for a single, and you're trying to go for Kirk Cousins or Jacoby Brissett or one of those kind of okay veterans. And we don't know what they're going to do with that, and it's going to be something I'm very curious to see. I do think Aaron Glenn has a little bit of gambler in him. I think he is someone who believes in his ability to get the best out of a guy that other coaching staffs have. And you heard it last year with Justin Fields. So I think a guy like a Tanner McKee or a Kyler Murray or, some of these wild cards, I think Aaron Glenn thinks he has it in him to put this person in a position to succeed where somebody else didn't. So that's why those are the kind of names that I'm going to be digging into more as this week goes on.
And I will say, again, nobody knows right now because Darren and Glenn, they have not had the meetings with the prospective teams to make these decisions. So that's why it's all hearsay right now. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as this week goes on, that's when it changes. Because again, this doesn't mean that Aaron and Darren, I hate having this, it drives me nuts every time I say their names together, but it doesn't mean that Aaron and Darren are suddenly just spilling to everybody. But once they have those meetings, the people that they have the meeting with, they're going to say something to somebody. And that person's going to say something to somebody. And that person's going to say something to somebody. And eventually that information and those leaks start to get out, especially here at the Combine. And that's where it makes their way to your ears, Zach. It'll make their way to my ears. And it's just because over the years, you get to know so many people around the NFL. And we've learned this. You and I were joking about this the other day. It's such a giant gossip circle that everybody talks to everybody and everybody hears things. And they all love talking and spreading the drama and the gossip. And eventually it gets to us because you become friends with these guys. So that's when we'll start to figure this all out. Is the end of the end of this week, we'll start to get a better idea what the Jets want to do.